Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission today is, well, it's highly practical and, frankly, a little subversive. We are going to master the art of artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and not just, how to casually use it.
Right. How to stop sounding like a robot yourself and how to start commanding these tools like an absolute professional.
Exactly. And to do this, we have a really fascinating stack of sources to guide us today.
We really do. We are pulling from this massive, incredibly detailed internal Wikipedia guide on how their editors actively detect AI-generated text. We've also got an AI prompting framework inspired by the legendary industrial designer Dieter Ram.
Which is brilliant, by the way.
Oh, it's so good. Plus Google's official best practices for prompt engineering, the 5-layer prompt framework for image generation, and finally, some elite master prompts covering deep learning and first-party data strategy.
It's basically a collection that takes us on a complete journey, from the underlying mathematics of why artificial intelligence writes the way it does, all the way to weaponizing that understanding to generate just elite-level work.
Because right now, literally everyone is using these tools, but let's be honest, the vast majority of people are using them so lazily.
Oh, completely lazily.
Usually when we think about a test to distinguish a human from a machine, we imagine something out of a sci-fi movie, like Blade Runner.
Right, the Voight-Kampff test.
Exactly. You sit someone down, you ask them a series of intensely emotional questions, you measure their pupil dilation, and eventually, the interrogator points a finger and says, replicant.
Yeah, we expect the machine to reveal itself by failing to understand the human condition, like a lack of empathy or a glitch in the emotional response.
But then you step into the modern world of digital communication, and suddenly that whole sci-fi interrogation room feels incredibly outdated.
It really does.
We are looking at a digital landscape where the machine doesn't fail by lacking emotion. It fails by being, obnoxiously enthusiastic or weirdly obsessed with the word delve.
Ugh, the word delve.
Right, and it pads out every single email like it's a high school essay trying to hit a word count.
Yeah. It is a totally new kind of uncanny valley. The AI doesn't sound cold and mechanical. It sounds like a hyper-caffeinated marketing intern who swallowed a thesaurus and is just desperately trying to impress you.
That is the perfect description. So before we can write good prompts and actually get human-level output, we have to understand the mechanics here. Why do bad prompts produce such recognizable bot speak?
Well, we hear the term regression to the mean thrown around in the sources a lot.
Okay, break that down for me, because when I interact with a chatbot, it genuinely feels like it's thinking about my question.
Right, and that illusion of thinking is the very first thing we have to dismantle. Large language models, or LLMs, do not think.
Okay.
They don't have a database of facts they consult, like a traditional search engine. At their core, they use statistical algorithms to infer what the most likely next piece of a word, a token, essentially should be, based entirely on the massive corpus of internet data they were trained on.
So it's basically a highly advanced, mathematically complex version of the autocomplete on my phone.
Yes. It's just guessing the next most probable word, over and over again.
Wow. Okay.
And because it relies purely on statistical likelihood, the output inevitably regresses to the mean. It gravitates toward the most statistically common way of describing any given subject online.
So it's playing the odds.
Exactly. And the fundamental problem here is that it smooths over specific, unusual, nuanced facts. It takes the rare and aggressively makes it average.
Okay, the Wikipedia detection guide has this brilliant example that made this click for me. They mention asking an AI to write about a highly specific, maybe a slightly obscure historical figure, say, the inventor of the first train coupling device.
Right.
Now, an actual human historian would write about the gritty, specific, metallic mechanics of train couplings. Maybe they'd talk about the patent disputes or the specific dimensions of the iron used,
But the AI doesn't actually understand what a train coupling is.
Right.
It only knows the statistical pattern of how biographies of inventors are generally written online. And on the internet, biographies of historical figures are completely saturated with positive, important-sounding language.
So instead of giving me the nuanced details of iron and patents, the AI just replaces those rare facts with generic hyperbole.
Exactly.
The inventor of a train coupling device suddenly becomes like a revolutionary titan of industry whose visionary genius forever altered the landscape of transportation.
Yeah, it applies the generic blueprint of important historical person to everyone, indiscriminately.
Even the train coupling guy.
Even him. For an LLM, the volume of praise is mathematically indistinguishable from the quality of the information.
Yeah.
It literally thinks that sounding important is the same thing as conveying facts.
It's exactly like a high school student trying to pad a word count on a book report for a book they clearly didn't read. You know the exact vibe.
Oh yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah. They just start shouting louder and louder that the subject is deeply important to society, while the actual specific details of the plot just fade into this blurry, generic sketch.
That behavior leads directly to what the Wikipedia editors call undue emphasis. Because the AI lacks real-world grounding, it constantly puffs up the legacy of incredibly mundane topics.
It just can't help itself.
It can't. It is addicted to phrases like stands as a testament, or marks a pivotal moment, or symbolizes its enduring legacy.
Yeah.
It forces a grand narrative onto things that simply do not warrant one.
There is this hilariously specific example in the sources about this exact thing. Someone used AI to write a Wikipedia entry about the etymology of a town in the Philippines called Bacnotan.
Oh, I remember this one.
The actual historical fact is so straightforward. During the Spanish colonial period, the name Bacnotan was Hispanized to Bacnotan. That's it. It's just a spelling change, a clerical update.
But an LLM cannot just state a clerical update. Its training data tells it that historical changes usually involve grand societal shifts.
Exactly. So the AI couldn't leave it alone. It added this incredibly dramatic sentence claiming, wait, let me read it. This etymology highlights the enduring legacy of the community's resistance and the transformative power of unity in shaping its identity.
Transformative power of unity.
To drop a couple of vowels from a town name?
It's absurd.
It really is. And the sources point out it does this with biology, too. There's a mention of an obscure Hawaiian plant species called, I think it's not Trucium divaricatum.
Yes.
If you prompt an AI to read an article about it, the AI will almost invariably obsess over the plant's rich cultural heritage and its vital role in the ecosystem.
It will invent an entire narrative about conservation efforts, even if no serious conservation efforts actually exist for that specific plant.
Wait, really? It just makes it up?
Yeah, and the mechanics behind why it does that are fascinating. In the AI's training data, Wikipedia articles about plants almost always have a section on conservation status or ecological impact. That's just the statistical norm. So, the mathematical model assumes that a well-written article must contain those elements. It hallucinates a grand ecological narrative just to satisfy its own statistical shape of what an article should look like.
It's filling in a template that doesn't apply.
Exactly. And it also results in this bizarre obsession with notability. The AI will hammer the reader with claims that something is notable rather than just presenting the facts that actually make it notable. The sources call this the independent coverage obsession.
Right. It'll generate sentences like, her insights have been featured in Wired, Refinery 29, and other prominent media outlets.
It's trying to build authority, but it does so by mimicking the tone of a public relations press release rather than an encyclopedia.
There's another example where the AI took an entirely uncontroversial, frankly boring fact and attributed it like it was a massive revelation. It wrote, an official Library of Congress review found that 31.5% of Small Business Administration Growth Accelerator winners were university-based. It's a simple statistic, but the AI dresses it up as this grand authoritative decree from the Library of Congress, as if, like, historians had been debating it for centuries.
Because it operates on the assumption that adding authoritative-sounding nouns like Library of Congress mathematically increases the statistical validity of the sentence.
So basically, before you send your next pitch deck or publish a blog post, you need to aggressively audit the text. If you generate a draft and you catch a sentence asserting how your very normal mundane project aligns with broader goals or serves as a vital hub, or stands as a testament.
You need to hit the delete key immediately.
Exactly. Force the text to rely on specific, verifiable facts, not generic praise.
Strip away the regression to the mean. If the AI is trying to pad your word count with empty enthusiasm, you have to be the editor that brings it back down to earth.
Okay, so that covers the broad thematic problems. But let's zoom in a bit, because the microscopic, granular choices in vocabulary and sentence structure are where this gets genuinely wild.
It really does.
There is a literal forbidden vocabulary, like these linguistic tells.
Post-2023, following the mass public adoption of these tools, researchers started noticing that certain words simply exploded in usage across the internet.
Just massive spikes.
Statistically impossible spikes. in academic papers, on platforms like Wikipedia, and in corporate communications. The most notorious of these, of course, is delve.
Oh, delve. The moment you see someone say, let's delve into this topic, an alarm bell just rings in your head. Though the sources do note its usage actually dropped off a bit in 2025 because people finally caught on to how obvious it was.
Yeah, it became a meme, so users started actively prompting the AI not to use it. But the list of overused words is extensive. We're looking at words like tapestry, vibrant, intricate, pivotal, underscore, showcase, foster, and enduring.
The Somali cuisine example in the Wikipedia guide is an absolute masterpiece of this bot speak. Let me read this single AI-generated paragraph.
Go for it.
Somali cuisine is an intricate and diverse fusion, drawing from the rich tapestry of Arab, Indian, and Italian flavors. This culinary tapestry is a direct result of Somalia's long-standing heritage of vibrant trade.
It's painful. It fits intricate, 2 instances of tapestry, and vibrant into 2 sentences. It's just a statistical soup.
A statistical soup, I love that. But beyond just the individual words, the sources outline these structural crutches the AI leans on. One of the strangest ones to me is its absolute avoidance of basic copulatives.
Copulatives being the simple verbs is and are.
Yeah. Why does an AI hate the word is?
Because the AI is mathematically weighted to favor text that appears sophisticated or professional. In its training data, highly dense academic or corporate writing often replaces simple verbs with complex factions.
Okay.
So the AI strongly prefers to say the building serves as a museum, or the building stands as a museum, or features a museum, rather than simply stating the building is a museum.
There's a study mentioned in the sources that documented a massive 10% decrease in the overall usage of the words is and are in academic writing in 2023 alone.
Which is staggering.
That is insane. The AI literally thinks is too boring, so it over-engineers the sentence. It will write, he ventured into politics as a candidate, instead of just saying he was a candidate.
It is trying to simulate sophisticated writing, but it overshoots and lands in parody. Another major structural tell the guide identifies is negative parallelisms.
Explain that one.
The AI loves the not just X but Y structure. It uses it to sound thoughtful and balanced, as if it is gently correcting a misconception the reader holds.
Oh, yes. There's a brilliant example of this in a drafted Wikipedia article about an underground rapper named Critical. The AI wrote, it is not just about the beat writing under the vocals, it's part of the aggression and atmosphere.
It sounds so profound until you realize it means absolutely nothing.
Literally nothing. Or it will rely relentlessly on the rule of 3. Every single list has to have 3 adjectives to simulate comprehensive analysis. The software is fast, secure, and reliable.
Which brings us to the underlying mechanism of why it structures sentences this way, specifically a concept called elegant variation, which is tightly tied to the repetition penalty.
Okay, break that down for me. What is a repetition penalty?
When engineers build an LLM, they realize that a purely statistical model might get stuck in a loop, right? It might just predict the exact same highly probable word over and over again. To prevent this, they introduce a mathematical parameter called a repetition penalty.
Okay.
Once a word is generated, its probability score is artificially lowered for the next few sentences.
So the AI is literally programmed to swallow a thesaurus. If it uses a word, it's mathematically forbidden from using it again immediately.
Exactly. Imagine a club DJ who is utterly terrified of playing the exact same beat twice.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. They start throwing in wild, mismatched remixes and obscure B-sides just to avoid repetition, and suddenly the dance floor is experiencing a chaotic, exhausting mix. That's what the AI does with language.
Wow.
The sources give an example of an AI writing about censorship in the Soviet Union. It can't just keep saying censorship, so it rapidly cycles through Soviet artistic constraints, then nonconformist artists, and then artistic norms, all in the span of a single paragraph.
It's exhausting to read because the terminology won't sit still. You're constantly trying to figure out if artistic norms means the exact same thing as artistic constraints.
Yes, it creates cognitive load for the reader.
And finally, there are the false ranges. AI loves the from X to Y structure to sound sweeping and poetic, even when no actual scale exists between the two items.
But from A to B structure implies a spectrum, right? From A to Z, from 1 to 100. But the AI will grab 2 completely unrelated concepts and force them into this structure.
Right, like from the singularity of the Big Bang to the grand cosmic web, what is the scale there?
There is no scale.
It's just 2 big space things. It's a false range. But I have to push back here for a second.
Go ahead.
If I am sitting down to write an email, and I happen to organically use the word intricate or vibrant, or I genuinely need to use a not only but also structure to make a point. Is that really a crime? Humans do use these words.
And that is a crucial distinction. We are not banning these words from the English language. A human might absolutely use the word tapestry when discussing literal textiles, or even as a metaphor. These elements are indicators, not a smoking gun in isolation.
Okay, so what's the actual giveaway?
What gives the AI away is the mathematical co-occurrence of these markers.
The clustering.
Exactly. If a single paragraph contains the word delve, the word tapestry, and a negative parallelism and goes out of its way to avoid the word is, the mathematical probability of a human having authored that exact sequence of text drops to near zero. It's the density of the tells that reveals the machine.
So my immediate move here is to hit Ctrl plus F on my keyboard before I publish anything. I need to search my documents for tapestry, delve, vibrant, and the phrase not only. If I see them clustered together, I sound like a bot.
100%.
And I need to do a sweep for my verbs. Take those elaborate serves as and stands as constructions and simplify them back to the powerful basic words is and are.
Simplifying your verbs will instantly make your writing punchier, more direct, and undeniably more human.
So we've looked at the thematic fluff and the microscopic vocabulary choices. Let's shift gears to the literal physical footprints the AI leaves behind.
The metadata.
Yes, the hallucinations, the formatting fails, the ghost data. Reading through the sources, this feels like catching a master art forger because they successfully faked a Rembrandt, but they accidentally left the barcode sticker from Home Depot on the back of the canvas.
That's exactly what it is, the metadata of mistakes. The most common physical footprint you will encounter comes from a clash of markup languages. When an AI generates text, its default output format is a system called Markdown.
Okay, explain Markdown for me, because not everyone listening is a developer. What does that actually look like on the screen?
Markdown is essentially the invisible scaffolding of digital text. Instead of clicking a bold button in Microsoft Word, in Markdown, you place double asterisks around a word to make it bold. You use hash symbols to create headers. It's a plain text way of formatting.
But a platform like Wikipedia uses completely different scaffolding called wiki text.
Correct. The code doesn't translate seamlessly. So when a lazy user asks an AI to write a Wikipedia article and then blindly copies and pastes the raw output directly into the platform, they carry the Markdown code over.
Oh, yikes.
Suddenly, you have a published article littered with exposed double asterisks and hash marks where proper formatting should be.
The AI also has this incredibly annoying habit of using emojis as bullet points, or building what the Wikipedia guide calls inline header vertical lists, where every single bullet point starts with a bolded buzzword followed by a colon.
Right.
It reads exactly like a tech startup's pitch deck, not an encyclopedia or a formal report.
It is applying the structure of a persuasive sales pitch inappropriately to informational text. But honestly, the formatting errors are relatively minor compared to the boilerplate text left behind.
Oh, man. The boilerplate.
You have to look out for conversational filler stranded in the middle of a document. A paragraph that suddenly begins with, "Certainly, I can help with that," or "Here's a detailed breakdown based on the available information."
My absolute favorites are the phrasal templates, the Mad Libs placeholders that people just forget to fill out.
Yes.
The sources highlight this real example from a Wikipedia talk page where someone was arguing for a page update, and they literally posted, "Dear Wikipedia, I am referring to the article about entertainer's name, which I believe contains inaccurate information."
They couldn't even be bothered to type the name of the actual person they were supposed to be defending.
It's so embarrassing.
It exposes a complete, catastrophic lack of human oversight. And closely related to that are the knowledge cutoff disclaimers.
Right.
If an AI's training data ended in a specific year and it doesn't have an answer, it will often defensively state, "As of my last update in January 2022, or while specific details are scarce." And then it will proceed to speculate wildly about why the details are scarce.
Yes. It invents an entire psychological profile. It'll say, "The artist likely maintains a low profile to focus on their craft and avoid media scrutiny." No, the artist just doesn't have a Wikipedia page yet.
Exactly.
But the most dangerous footprint, without question, are the hallucinated citations, the fictitious references.
This is where we must apply rigorous critical thinking, because we need to explain why an AI hallucinates a reference so confidently. As we discussed earlier, an LLM does not know facts in the way a relational database does.
Right, it doesn't have a library to check.
No. It knows the statistical shape of language. Yeah, and it knows the statistical pattern of what an academic citation is supposed to look like.
So it knows a citation usually features an author's last name, a first initial, a year of publication in parentheses, an academic journal title in italics, and a DOI string at the end.
Yes. And for those unfamiliar, a DOI is a digital object identifier. It's basically a permanent digital fingerprint or serial number for an academic paper. If you have the DOI, you can always find the paper.
So the AI just generates a plausible-sounding string of text that perfectly mimics that shape, including a fake serial number.
The guide highlights a truly terrifying example of this. ChatGPT generated a reference for a complex physics concept. It cited a paper in the Proceedings of the IE, which is a highly prestigious engineering journal.
Okay.
It claimed the paper was authored by C.L. Fortescue in 1967, and it provided a completely realistic-looking, clickable DOI link,
But it was entirely fake.
completely fabricated from thin air. The historical figure Fortescue had been dead for over 30 years by 1967.
Wow.
The specific journal volume and issue existed in reality, but it contained no such paper. The DOI link was a dead end. But to a casual reader, or even a rushed editor, it looked impeccably researched and perfectly formatted.
And it doesn't just invent DOIs. The sources note it will cite real existing books but completely omit the page numbers, rendering the citation practically unverifiable. Or, even weirder, it will leak bizarre back-end system code right into the text.
The ghost URLs.
Yes.
You'll be reading a normal sentence, and at the end of it, instead of a footnote number, it says bracket, OA site, :0 bracket,
Right.
or turn 0, search 0.
Or the URL will have tracking tags appended to it, exposing where it came from, like _source equals chatgpt.com.
Now, I want to be absolutely clear here for a second. As we discuss these hallucinated texts and formatting errors, the source documents provide several examples that mention real political figures, ongoing controversies, and real-world organizations.
Right.
We are examining these examples purely as mechanical case studies in AI formatting failures and hallucinated data structures. We are not endorsing, validating, or taking any side on the actual content or viewpoints of those hallucinated texts.
Absolutely. Our focus is strictly on the mechanics of the machine's failure. So, practically speaking, your takeaway here is that you can never, ever trust an AI citation, ever. If you're using it for research, you have to click every single link. If an AI gives you a book source, you have to demand the page number and then go verify it yourself.
Well.
Second, before you hit send or publish on anything AI-assisted, you need to scrub the document for markdown quirks.
Remove the emoji bullet points.
Hunt down the excessive M-dashes because the AI loves a dramatic M-dash. Clean the metadata of the machine off your work.
Which brings us to a pivotal transition in our understanding. We've spent this time identifying exactly what bad, lazy AI output looks like and the statistical math behind why it happens. Now we have to address the solution.
How do we force the AI to do better?
Exactly.
I found myself getting so frustrated reading through the errors. I kept thinking, how do I physically stop it from making these hallucinated citations and rambling paragraphs? And the answer the sources provide is surprisingly simple. We have to stop being polite to it. We have to stop treating it like an eager, fragile intern and start treating it like a precise, unfeeling execution engine. We have to become dictatorial. Enter Dieter Rams.
Dieter Rams is one of the most influential industrial designers of the 20th century. He is most famous for his decades of work with the consumer products company Braun. His guiding design philosophy is encapsulated in a three-word German phrase, weniger, aber besser. Less, but better.
We have a source document here titled The Dieter Rams System Prompt, and it is an absolute masterclass in behavioral constraint for AI. It forces the LLM into a strict, minimalist, highly functional operating framework.
The prompt outlines 4 core pillars of behavior. The first is utility first. It instructs the AI to prioritize function over form. It demands that the AI answer the core problem immediately and eliminate any text, code, or explanation that does not directly help the user achieve their goal.
No throat clearing. No.
Yeah.
Here is a detailed breakdown of your request based on the information provided. Just give me the answer. The second pillar is restraint and neutrality. And I absolutely love this phrasing from the prompt. You are a tool, not a companion. Remain completely unobtrusive. Never use conversational filler, emojis, enthusiastic affirmations, or introductory pleasantries.
It explicitly bans the decorative conclusions and summary paragraphs that AI naturally defaults to.
It's so refreshing.
The third pillar is honesty and precision. State limitations plainly. Do not overstate capabilities. The prompt beautifully states, treat accuracy as a form of respect for the user. If it doesn't know the answer, it is ordered to say, I don't know, rather than hallucinate a fake IE paper.
And the final piece is the banned vocabulary. The prompt literally forbids the AI from using the words we discussed earlier: delve, tapestry, vibrant, crucial, showcase. It explicitly bans negative parallelisms and the rule of three.
It's a complete lockdown.
But let me challenge this approach for a second.
Yeah.
If we strip all the conversational elements away, if we treat it just like a cold, unfeeling calculator, doesn't that kill the magic of interacting with an AI? Doesn't it make the tool too dry and rigid for creative writing or brainstorming?
That is a very common reaction, but it misunderstands what the magic actually is.
Okay, how so?
The conversational friendliness, certainly, I hope this helps, is not actual computational magic. It is a carefully engineered user experience trick designed by tech companies.
A trick?
Yes. They program the AI to mimic a helpful, enthusiastic human to make the software feel less intimidating to the general public during mass adoption. But for professional use, that friendliness is not magic. It is friction.
It's just more text I have to read through to get to the point?
Exactly. It wastes your time, it wastes cognitive load, and critically, it wastes token space in the context window.
Okay, wait, explain that part. Token space, what does that mean in practical terms?
Every AI has a memory limit for a given conversation, measured in tokens, which are basically fragments of words. Think of tokens like a budget. If the AI is spending 50 tokens in every single response, telling you how excited it is to help you, and another 50 tokens summarizing what it just told you, it is literally eating up its own memory capacity.
Oh, wow.
By banning the conversational filler, you are stripping away the UX trick and interacting directly with the computational power of the model. You get cleaner, faster, significantly more usable outputs.
So my move here is to create a master system prompt, or use the custom instructions feature that is available in the settings of most major AI tools. I need to take the DRAM's principles and hard code them into my AI's baseline behavior.
Yes, make it the default.
Tell it, I do not want conversational filler. Do not write summary paragraphs. Never use the word delve or tapestry. Instruct it to stop generating text the exact millisecond the functional requirement is met.
You are establishing boundaries,
Yeah.
and once those boundaries are set, you stop fighting the fluff, and you can apply this clean engine to highly complex tasks. Which brings us to the advanced frameworks in our sources.
Yes. We fixed the text, we stripped out the bot speak. Now, let's look at how to command the AI to generate professional images, simulate expert advisors, and execute complex data strategy. Let's start with Google's official prompting best practices.
Google's documentation distills effective prompting down to rigid structure. A great prompt is not a chaotic stream of consciousness paragraph of requests.
Right, which is what most people do.
Exactly. It contains 4 distinct elements: persona, task, context, and format.
Persona, who is the AI acting as? Task?
Hmm?
What specifically are you asking it to do? Context, what background information does it need to not hallucinate? And format, how do you want the answer delivered? A bulleted list, a Python script, an email.
And Google emphasizes the 3 C's. Be concise, clear, and consistent. Consistency is particularly vital here. If you refer to your data as a spreadsheet in your first prompt, do not call it a matrix in your third prompt.
Because it gets confused.
The AI takes vocabulary literally. Switching terms introduces mathematical ambiguity.
And there's a massive tip from the Google Docs about context windows, they say. Keep your context windows clean. If I am using an AI to brainstorm corporate marketing copy, and then I decide I want it to help me write a recipe for dinner, I should not just type the recipe question into the same chat window.
Because the context window retains the residual memory of the conversation.
The tokens.
Yes, the tokens. If you mix topics, the AI might subtly weave marketing jargon into your dinner recipe because those tokens are still active and highly weighted in its short-term memory. Always start a completely fresh chat for a new topic.
Which is a perfect setup for a specific feature Google calls gems, though the concept applies to any advanced AI. It's the idea of simulating experts. You don't just ask the AI for an answer, you tell it to become a specific expert persona to stress test your thinking.
You are essentially creating a synthetic advisory board. You can prompt the AI to take on the persona of a highly skeptical chief financial officer, or a rigorous compliance lawyer, or a hyper-creative director.
And then what?
You feed them your business plan and instruct them to find your blind spots. You ask them to tear the idea apart from their specific simulated worldview.
It's an incredible way to gain new perspectives in minutes. But let's shift from text to visual because this next source is wild. We have a document called the 5-Layer Prompt Framework for Images.
This one is game-changing.
Because we all know that lazy AI image look. You type a woman holding skincare and you get this glowing, plastic-looking person with 7 fingers holding a bottle that says something in alien runes.
That plastic look is the visual equivalent of regression to the mean. When you provide a vague one-sentence prompt, the AI's diffusion model defaults to the statistical average of a commercial photograph across its entire training data, which looks generic, overly lit, and flat.
So how do we fix it?
The difference between that and a studio-quality asset is what the source calls the one-line fix. It is about providing technical specifications rather than vague descriptions.
It's like being a movie director. You can't just walk onto a film set and tell the crew, film a sad scene. You have to tell the lighting team where the shadows should fall. You have to tell the camera operator what lens to use. You have to tell the wardrobe department about the color palette. You have to direct every single layer.
Exactly. And the 5-layer framework breaks this down systematically for the AI. Layer 1 is the subject in action. Be hyper-specific. Not a woman, but a 28-year-old Indian woman holding a luxury serum bottle.
Layer 2 is environment and lighting. This is huge. The document says never leave light to chance. Don't let the AI guess. Tell it soft golden hour lighting coming from the left.
By specifying the light source, you provide the engine with the necessary math to calculate realistic shadows and highlights across the subject's face.
That makes so much sense.
Layer 3 is camera and lens, and this is the absolute secret to photorealism. Give the AI real-world optical parameters. Instruct it to shoot with a Canon EOS R5 85mm f1.4 lens.
Wait, I'm not a photographer. What does telling the AI f1.4 actually do to the image generation?
It changes the focal length parameters in the latent space. In real-world physics, an f1.4 aperture creates a very shallow depth of field.
Okay, meaning what?
It keeps the subject perfectly in focus while blurring the background into a soft haze, what photographers call bokeh. By typing f1.4, you are mathematically forcing the AI to simulate that exact lens blur, drawing focus to the subject exactly like a real portrait lens would. It destroys the flat, plastic look.
That is amazing. Layer 4 is color and texture. Give the image a tactile feel. Warm amber and cream tones, dewy skin texture.
Yes, get specific with the textures.
And finally, layer 5 is style and quality tags. Set the stylistic reference point. Editorial beauty photography, 8K, ultra-realistic.
When you combine those 5 layers, you eliminate the AI's need to guess. You take control of the variables, and the output shifts from a cheap novelty to a highly usable professional brand asset.
But of course, whether you are generating images or text, the quality of the output is ultimately governed by the quality of the input data. And this brings us to one of the most critical and honestly most complex pieces of source material we have, the strategy around first-party data. Because even the most elite Dieter Rams-inspired prompt will fail spectacularly if the data you feed the AI is garbage.
The provided text outlines a looming crisis in digital marketing and data strategy. Historically, companies have built their targeting and AI strategies on what we call borrowed identity. Third-party cookies, device IDs, stitched-together profiles.
Let me stop you there because we hear about cookies all the time. But break down the actual plumbing of this. What is a third-party cookie really, and why is it dying?
Imagine you walk into a shopping mall and a security guard slaps a sticky note on your back with a tracking number on it.
Okay, weird mall, but tracking.
Right. As you walk from the shoe store to the bookstore to the food court, other completely unrelated stores read that sticky note and record your movements. That is a third-party cookie. It's a piece of code dropped on your browser by an ad network, allowing them to track your behavior across websites they don't even own.
But privacy regulations like GDPR and browser updates from Apple and Google are essentially banning the security guards from putting sticky notes on people's backs.
Precisely. The foundation of borrowed identity is collapsing. The document notes that by 2026, roughly 75% of marketers expect their targeting to break completely. We are seeing attribution windows shrinking and identity resolution fragmenting.
Okay, another jargon check. Attribution windows and identity resolution. What do those mean in plain English?
An attribution window is simply that time frame in which a company can track a customer's journey from seeing an ad to making a purchase. If you see an ad on Monday and buy the product on Friday, the company wants to connect those dots. That's the window.
Got it.
But because the trackers are being blocked, those windows are slamming shut. They lose track of you.
And identity resolution.
Identity resolution is the company trying to figure out that the person who clicked an ad on their iPhone in the morning is the exact same person who bought the product on their laptop in the evening. It's trying to recognize a customer who is essentially wearing different disguises across different devices.
Got it. So the tracking is broken, the windows are shut, and they can't recognize the customers. So what is the solution if they want to use AI to market to these people?
The solution is not to buy another software tool that tries to guess who the customer is. The solution is first-party, consented, real-time data.
Meaning data they actually own.
Yes. You have to own the data loop. You have to build a relationship where the customer tells you who they are by logging in. Every interaction a customer has with your brand on the site, in the product, with customer support must be captured natively, unified into a single profile, and made usable in minutes, not weeks.
You have to treat identity as core infrastructure. It's not a marketing add-on. And this is the line from the source that just hit me right between the eyes. It says, models trained on stale or non-compliant data produce noise at scale. Better models do not fix bad inputs.
That is the absolute crux of the issue. If you point a highly capable LLM at unresolved, fragmented data layers, where the system thinks one person is actually 3 different people, you are not going to get a brilliant marketing strategy. You are just going to generate very convincing, highly formatted errors at lightning speed.
So before I even think about deploying an AI agent to personalize my marketing or analyze my customers, I have to do the unglamorous plumbing work. Map the data sources, find the latency and the duplication, collapse those fragmented identifiers into a single real-time profile. Stop deploying AI on top of a mess.
Because, as the source concludes, this is no longer an optimization problem. It is a systems problem.
Yeah.
And systems either compound advantage or they compound error. AI is a highly capable, utterly literal execution engine and simply amplifies whatever system it is plugged into.
Let's look at one final brilliant example from the sources of how all these concepts, persona, strict formatting, and complex data come together perfectly. We have a master prompt for deep learning social media.
This one is great.
This prompt is a masterclass in combining persona, structured knowledge, and platform constraints.
The prompt begins by establishing a very specific role, an elite AI educator and social media strategist. It then feeds the AI a tightly constrained knowledge base about deep learning, specifically comparing traditional machine learning to deep learning.
It literally feeds the AI the technical curriculum so it doesn't have to guess or hallucinate. It outlines the limitations of manual feature engineering in machine learning versus the pattern recognition capabilities of neural networks in deep learning. It lists terms like the forward pass, backpropagation, epochs, and batch sizes.
Let's briefly break down those mechanisms just so we understand the density of the information the AI is handling here.
Yeah, please do.
In traditional machine learning, a human has to manually tell the computer what features to look for, say, telling it to look for pointed ears to identify a cat. That's manual feature engineering. But in deep learning, neural networks figure out those features on their own through trial and error.
And backpropagation, what is that?
Imagine baking a cake, tasting it, realizing it's too sweet, and mathematically calculating exactly how much less sugar to use in every previous step of the recipe to make it perfect next time. That's backpropagation. The network looks at its error and adjusts its internal weights backward.
Oh, that makes sense.
And epochs are just how many times the model reads through the entire data set, like rereading a textbook.
Okay, so the prompt feeds all this incredibly dense technical data to the AI, but it doesn't just ask the AI to summarize it, which would result in that generic regression to the mean fluff. It gives the AI strict platform conditions.
Yes, condition A is for LinkedIn. It demands a professional deep dive tailored specifically to the 360 Brew algorithm.
Which is LinkedIn's specific internal algorithm that prioritizes long-form, highly engaging professional insights over quick links.
Exactly. Condition B is for X, demanding a punchy, highly scannable viral thread format. Condition C is for Instagram, requesting a visual carousel script dividing the text into slides.
It takes the dense technical data, applies the strict educator persona, and formats it perfectly for the specific distribution channel. It is the exact opposite of regression to the mean. It is highly specific, deeply contextual, and utterly intentional.
So, synthesizing everything we've learned into how you operate moving forward. You must build a prompt library. Do not start from a blank chat window every time.
Right.
Save your most successful prompt architectures using that persona task context format structure. When generating images, learn and use technical photography terminology to control the output. And above all, audit your data stack. Ensure your inputs are clean, consented, and unified before you unleash the AI upon them.
Okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today. Let's recap the journey. We started by diagnosing the disease, bot speak. We learned the statistical mathematics, the regression to the mean that explains why AI writes like a hyperactive dictionary, constantly puffing up the importance of mundane things and inventing fake references just to fill out the shape of what it thinks a document should look like.
We identified the exact forbidden vocabulary, the delves, the tapestries, the negative parallelisms, the desperate avoidance of the word is, and discussed the necessity of aggressively editing them out of your drafts.
We then explored the cure, applying Dieter Ram's minimalist philosophy to our system prompts, actively forbidding the AI from using conversational fluff, and demanding brutal, functional efficiency.
Less, but better.
And finally, we learned how to structure complex tasks using Google's frameworks, the 5-layer image prompt, and the absolute necessity of clean, first-party data plumbing.
It is about moving from being a passive, frustrated consumer of AI output to becoming an active, intentional director of AI systems. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a slightly provocative thought, building on everything we've discussed about AI detection.
Ooh, okay. Lay it on us.
We've seen how internal guides, like the Wikipedia one, are becoming incredibly sophisticated at spotting AI. They look for perfect grammar, the overuse of em-dashes, the rigid structural parallelisms, the flawless but mathematically predictable elegance of the prose.
Bryce?
As these detection mechanisms become more ubiquitous, and as society becomes more allergic to the uncanny valley of perfect bot speak, what will human writers do to prove they are human?
Wait, are you suggesting we're going to start dumbing down our own writing on purpose?
Think about it. If perfect grammatical structure, comprehensive vocabulary, and flawless formatting are now the undeniable hallmarks of a machine, will human writers intentionally begin making minor grammatical errors? Will we start skipping structural logic, abandoning transitions, and using simpler, messier, more chaotic language just to signal authenticity to the reader? Are we entering an era where a typo is no longer a mark of carelessness, but the ultimate, undeniable proof of a human soul?
Oh man, that is entirely plausible. We're going to start sprinkling typos into our emails like artisanal sea salt on a dish just to prove it didn't come from a factory. You heard it here first.
It's the new Voight-Kampff test. The machine writes perfectly, the human makes a mistake.
And on that note, it is time to wrap up. Go audit your prompts, build that master library, strip out the bot speak, fix your data plumbing, and take command of the machine. And maybe, just maybe leave one tiny typo in your next email, just so we know it's really you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.